The Samsung Galaxy S26 series is finally official. I've had some early hands-on time, and here's everything you need to know. So as every year, we have 3 new Samsung Galaxy S26 devices. There's the S26, the S26 Plus, as well as the S26 Ultra. Now this year we have more of a unified look across all 3 devices, and although the cameras are in the same place, the triple ring design, these are now housed within an ambient island. This is similar to what we saw on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, and I quite like the look. We've also got more rounded edges, in particular on the S26 Ultra. The colors are also exactly the same across all 3 devices: a cobalt violet, a sky blue, a black, as well as a white. Now there will be 2 exclusive colors available from Samsung.com, a silver shadow and a pink gold. If you're interested in picking those up or any of these devices and you want the best deals out there, then do check out my affiliate links down in the description below. They'll give you double the storage as well as some money off with my links and codes. Now, in going with the unified design, Samsung also now has armor aluminum frames on all 3 devices. And yes, that means there is no longer titanium on the Ultra device. Now I'm gonna let you guys make your own conclusions, but it goes without saying that Samsung adopted titanium after Apple did, and now that Apple has gone back to aluminium with the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, it looks like Samsung is also following. I mean, one of the positives about not having titanium is that every color is no longer named titanium, so I don't have to keep saying it. But anyway, one of the possible advantages of using aluminium is that it is lighter, and the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra is lighter, and it's also the slimmest ever Ultra. So it's around 4 grams lighter compared to the S25 Ultra, and it's also around 0.3 millimeters thinner. Now it is slightly taller and slightly wider. Now I'm assuming this is because of the curved edges to maintain that large display. The S26 Plus is exactly the same size and weight as the S25 Plus. The S26, however, is around 5 grams more, and it's also slightly wider and taller. Now this is because the S26 has a slightly larger display, 6.3 inches versus 6.2 inches. The S26 Plus maintains the 6.7 inch display, and the S26 Ultra maintains a 6.9 inch display. Now all 3 devices have dynamic AMOLED 2X technology. We've got a full HD plus resolution on the S26. On the S26 Plus and the S26 Ultra, we have quad HD resolution, so they're going to be slightly sharper. The S26 Plus, the sharpest of the 3, but you're not going to notice a huge difference between that and the S26 Ultra. All devices are now also 10-bit, up from 8-bit, which means you're going to get way more colors. Now, although all 3 devices have amazing displays, the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra is really the one that shines, and it may just be the best display on any smartphone right now. So firstly, it's got Gorilla Armor 2 like we had on the S25 Ultra. This is going to make it anti-reflective. But more importantly, it has a brand new feature called Privacy Display. Now this is the world's first privacy display on mobile, and it has game-changing pixel level protection. Let me break this down. So you may have already seen certain screen protectors that limit the angle of view. So if somebody's trying to snoop over your shoulder, they're not going to be able to see your screen. Privacy Display is way more advanced than that. Firstly, it works both horizontally and vertically, unlike privacy screen protectors. And as you can see from the testing, it does work really well. But what makes the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra unique is that you can control this at the pixel level. So you can have things like your notifications and password fields blanked out to those around you. Now, I only got to play around with this a little bit, but this is absolutely awesome, and I can really see myself using this. You don't necessarily want your whole display private, but just having those particular fields will also not bring so much attention to your device, like what is he hiding? Now, as far as I understand, the way this works is by switching off the wider pixels of the OLED display and only keeping the narrow pixels on. And the only negative that I really noticed is that when you enable this for the full display, then it does decrease the brightness slightly, which I guess is understandable because it's dimming the wider displays. But nevertheless, I think this is an amazing feature. The S26 Ultra still maintains support for the S Pen, but the tip of the S Pen is slightly more curved because it can fit into that rounded corner. And no, there is still no Bluetooth. Samsung removed this with the S25 Ultra, and they are not bringing it back for future devices as far as I can see. if you still want Bluetooth with the S Pen, you might have to stick with the S24 Ultra. Now let's talk about the cameras. So for the selfie camera, we have the same camera across the board. It's a 12 megapixel camera with an f2.2 aperture. Now, although the hardware remains relatively the same, we do have an enhanced AI ISP, image signal processor, with an object-aware engine, which should improve selfies. And for the rear-facing cameras, the S26 and the S26 Plus maintain the same camera hardware. So we have a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 50 megapixel primary camera, as well as a 10 megapixel telephoto camera with 3x optical zoom. The S26 Ultra maintains the same hardware for the 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera, as well as the 10 megapixel 3x optical zoom telephoto camera. However, the primary camera as well as the 5x zoom camera have been updated. So for the primary 200 megapixel camera, we now have a wider f1.4 aperture. This is from f1.7 that we had on the S25 Ultra. And this is going to let in around 47% more light. And for the 50 megapixel telephoto 5x zoom camera, we now have a wider f2.9 aperture from f3.4 that we had on the S25 Ultra. And this should give you around 37% brighter results. Now, we also have new lenses to reduce lens flare. And guys, of course, we're going to be doing some SuperSaf style camera comparisons as soon as we've got the retail version of the S26 Ultra in hand. If you want to see that first, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss that coverage. We've also got some improvements for video on the S26 Ultra. We've got super steady video with upgraded leveling with horizontal lock. And this is going to give you automatic correction for up to 360 degrees. And it's based on real-time gyro and accelerometer data. This looked very impressive in my initial testing. And you can also now record in a new APV video format, which lets you record in 5-minute chunks, and it preserves video quality at high resolution, and it stays virtually lossless even through multiple edits. Now, performance. So the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy. For Galaxy means that it's slightly overclocked. Now, this is going to be the same across the board, no matter where you are. For the S26 and the S26 Plus, however, they will have the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy in North America, China, and Japan only. Everywhere else, they will be powered by the Samsung Exynos 2600 chipset. Now, this is the world's first 2nm chipset, and it's going to be interesting to see what the performance difference is. Usually everybody wants the Snapdragon version, but this year for the first time, we have a 2nm chipset versus the 3nm chipset. So I will try to do some performance comparisons between the Exynos version and the Snapdragon version to see what the differences really are. But generally speaking, these devices are going to have excellent performance. We've got 12 gigabytes of RAM across the board. However, for the 1TB version of the S26 Ultra, you will have 16 gigabytes of RAM. And the S26 Ultra is the only one with a 1TB option. You've got 256 and 512 gigabyte versions on the rest. So Samsung has ditched the 128 gigabyte version for the S26 base model, and I'm definitely glad about that. The S26 Ultra also has an expanded vapor chamber with a thermal interface material, and this can dissipate over 21% more heat. Now for software. So all three devices come with Android 16 with One UI 8.5 out of the box. And as always, Samsung is promising 7 generations of software and security updates, which is amazing and up there amongst the best. And then we have Galaxy AI. Now, for me, Galaxy AI is the most complete AI package on any smartphone. I've said this many times before, and it's been further improved with the S26 series. So with Photo Assist, it's already been amazing on Samsung devices, but now you can actually add prompts. So you can refine images straight from your Galaxy. For instance, if you have an empty vase, you can add flowers to it and it looks very realistic. You can also realistically blend pictures together. You can restyle your photos, so if you've got a regular photo, you can make it look like a fisheye photo, for example. There's Creative Studio, which I don't see myself using much, but this will give you ready-made templates and you're going to be able to make stickers as well as greeting cards for invitations and wallpapers. We've seen Audio Eraser before, which is very cool and allows you to take background noise out of your videos. But now you can also use this within apps. So for instance, if you have a video playing on YouTube and it's got some loud background music, or if you're watching something on Netflix or something else where there is a lot of background noise, you can switch this on and it's gonna enhance the voice. I can really see myself using this, especially in some of those annoying videos where there's too much background noise. There's now Nudge, which understands context on screen and it can give you suggestions. So for example, if somebody asks you, are you free on February 25th for dinner? It will actually look into your calendar and see if you are free or not. Circle to Search has also evolved. It's one of my favorite features, but now you can also ask it further questions. Samsung is also introducing call screening, which we've seen on other devices before. Galaxy AI will answer unknown calls for you and identify who's calling and why, give you a summary before you answer it. And Samsung is working on an integrated AI platform. This is something that I've complained about in previous video reviews of the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. The experience does seem a little bit disjointed with multiple voice assistants. This is now supposed to be improved with Perplexity. Now this is built in directly into the system, so no managing separate apps or tasks. And it's something that I do have to spend some more time with. Of course, we still do also have Gemini. Now for the batteries and charging. So the Samsung Galaxy S26 has a larger 4,300 mAh battery. This is up from 4,000 that we had on the S25. The S26 Plus and the S26 Ultra have the same size batteries as last year. So the S26 Plus has a 4,900 mAh battery. The S26 Ultra has a 5,000 mAh battery. Now this is something that I really did want to see improved, having larger batteries like we've got on lots of the competition, which are using silicon carbon technology. We've got lots of flagships with 7,000 milliamps plus. So although I do expect the S26 series to have better battery life compared to the S25 series because of the new and more efficient chipset, they still will not match the competition. Now for charging, no real changes on the Samsung Galaxy S26. We've got 25 watts of wide charging, which will give you around 55% in 30 minutes. And it has 15 watts of wireless charging. The S26 Plus has faster wide charging like before, so it's 45 watts, and that will give you around 69% in 30 minutes. And it also supports slightly faster wireless charging at 20 watts. And the S26 Ultra has the fastest charging on any Galaxy device ever, and that is up to 60 watts, which will give you around 75% in 30 minutes. Still not as fast as some of the competition, but definitely nice to see an improvement. It also has up to 25 watts of wireless charging, and all of the devices do support wireless power share, so you're going to be able to charge other devices on the back of them. And they have Qi 2.2 supported, but with a case. So magnets are still not included on the Samsung Galaxy S26 series. If you do want Qi 2.2 MagSafe to clip on, then you're gonna have to get a compatible case with magnets. Now, if I'm honest with you, that's something that I was hoping to see, Qi 2.2 built in, but unfortunately it's not. Now, finally, for the price. Well, the bad news is in the UK, we've had a price increase across the board. So with the base Samsung Galaxy S26, remember we no longer have a 128GB version, but the 256GB version is going to be starting at around £880. So that's around £20 more compared to the equivalent last year. And for the 512GB version, it's around £1,050. So that's around £90 more compared to the equivalent S25 last year. Now with the S26 Plus, it has gone up by £100 for the 256 version. So that is £1,100 starting price. And the 512GB version has actually gone up by £170. And finally, the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. Now this has actually had the least price increase for the base model anyway. 256 version is going to be starting at £1,280, so that's around £30 more compared to what the S25 Ultra started at. But for the 512GB version, it's going to be £100 more, and for the 1TB version, £150 more. Now, if it's any help, then by using my affiliate links and codes down in the description below, you can get double the storage as well as some money off, so that might help. And pre-orders are open from today, and the launch date is around the 11th of March. So that's when you're going to be able to get your hands on the S26 series. So that is the Samsung Galaxy S26 series. And to answer the question, which one should you buy? Well, the S26 and the S26 Plus are very good devices and they tick a lot of the boxes. However, personally, I would go for the S26 Ultra. It has the S Pen, it has that amazing new privacy display feature, which is not going to be available on any other device right now. It has the faster charging, and it also has the least price increase from all of the devices. That's what I think anyway. What do you guys think of the Samsung Galaxy S26 series? Drop me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. As mentioned, I'm going to be working on lots of SuperSaf style comparisons. They're going to be coming very, very soon. So be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon if you haven't already. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do smash that like button for me. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.